brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1533, April 28, 2025. 91 degrees we hit on this day. That was in 2004. And it was as chilly as 26 degrees on 3 occasions, 1907, 1958, and 1965, the year of the big floods around these parts.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
If you went to bed on the evening of April 27th, 1893, you woke up on the morning of April 28th to an ice out on Minnetonka.
Wow.
1893, and again in 1951 and 1975, and White Bear Lake also went out on this day in 1975.
And those ice outs are brought to us by our friends at professionalturf.com.
They just sprayed mine yesterday.
Will the governor go to the fishing opener? I have been sent a poster, a picture of a poster that's been established by the Crow Wing County Republicans. And it says, the Crow Wing County Republicans invite you to join the 2025 fishing opener flag wave. Let's give Tim Walls a great, warm Minnesota welcome from the area of Rocks and Cows. Bring your Trump gear, American flags, and the original Minnesota flag. Saturday, May 10, 7:30 a.m. Flag wave at the roundabout near Andy's Bar and Grill. Boat parade will launch from Southwest Cross Lake access off West Shore Drive. Find more details at Crow Wing County Republicans on Facebook or at CWGOP.com. I'm betting that Tim's going to have a very short stay at the fishing opener.
Yeah, he'll be kind of forced. How close can you get to the governor when you're fishing?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know they have security detail, but
Why do you ask?
no, I just wonder if he's accessible, not for anything mean or
Do you have plans?
ill intent.
I'm glad you said the word plans, Kenny. For a week now, and I'm not going to go into a harangue because it's pointless. I've been defeated, and I accept my defeat when it comes to the hysteria that the meteorologists want to induce. And
Didn't rain at my house.
it's been, seriously, they've been selling this day, the storms this day, for a week.
Yeah.
For a week. And I picked up to something. They all want to know, or they all want to remind you about your plans. What plans? They say, well, now your plans could be in jeopardy Monday afternoon today because of possibly some bad weather. What
What do you have planned? What
bleeping plans are you? What plans?
What I love
What are you talking about plans?
Why you are so awesome is because you think that they are addressing you and only you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
permission to approach the bench.
Sidebar?
Go ahead.
If there were weather-related issues in the western St. Paul area, what were your plans going to be?
I don't have any plans.
Why don't you have plans?
Secondary question.
It's like the bank teller saying, "You got any plans for the weekend?"
Of all the things to criticize them for, this is
No,
what
that's
you
what
chose?
I'm after. I'm after the plans.
We all have plans.
No, we
You're
don't
the-
have any plans.
Yeah, we do.
A plan is it involves something.
Something sawed
Mowing the
out or
lawn.
going after.
Gonna mow the lawn Monday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mow the lawn.
I don't know. I'm gonna repave the driveway. I guess I won't now.
That's a plan.
Right, that's what he's addressing.
All right.
Follow-up question, Your Honor.
Yes.
If anything short of your roof getting ripped off the side of your house,
Yeah.
what would be worthy of a warning ahead of time?
Well, you sure as hell don't have to warn me about a thunderstorm.
That roof better go
in the roof? I got a guy.
Be there the next morning.
I'm often
Flopping around on
amused
your
that
roof.
people let this bother them. I saw online a bunch of people. Oh, they're the weather people. They never. Blah 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 blah.
John,
John,
I'm only letting one thing bother me.
What's that?
Plans to me suggest a formality. They suggest no. They suggest
You are an
no.
oddball.
Let me finish.
Odd duck,
Stop
as
it.
they say.
They suggest plans
Goodness
suggest
gracious.
planning. It's Monday.
Okay.
You know what? Pretty much most people are
Gotta
at
go
work.
to the post
My
office.
plan was
I
to go
went
to the
already.
airport.
Exactly.
I'm about to pass.
You know why I went?
I know.
Because what if I could this afternoon? I have to laugh.
You are right, though, Joe, because I'm looking at an email now from Friday morning at 4:56 a.m. Forecast for first alert for Monday.
They've been
possible-
selling it since last Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You already went to the post office?
Kelsey sent me something. Who was the guy on CCO, longtime weather guy? Mike Lynch?
Mike
Lynch.
Oh.
Mike Lynch posted on Facebook. He said, I'm coming out of retirement for this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
And he, did you see it, John?
I did.
Yeah, and he said, this is the real deal. I got news for you.
Was not.
I don't. And this morning, we're supposed to get the first wave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was damp for about a minute and a half.
Do you?
In Joe's neighborhood.
Well, John, if it doesn't rain at my house, then you didn't get any rain.
Poured here for
Oh, it
15
didn't pour.
minutes.
It did
So,
no.
Thunder, lightning.
I want to remind you of your history. Do you remember years ago when you were doing the same sort of bit with Royce, and you went to break and the hotline rang, and then you came out of break and said, well, I'm going to take all of that back.
Turns out.
Maybe this weather is more important. Yeah. Do you not remember that?
Yeah, never mind.
Never mind.
No, I
So is okay. Can I?
You should wait, Chris. You
ahead.
should
Go
print a picture of him and hang it on your microphone, just so you remember. Yes.
May I make
Yes.
an attempt at an analogy here?
I can give you the inverse of that story, but go ahead.
Is it the word plans is analogous to the word guess at Target? That's what bothers you.
Maybe you're kind of on the right track.
Okay, all
but
right.
plans
What is-
suggest to me that you've been sitting down with maps or
Got a bottle of water.
yeah, you're
Preparation.
Yeah.
Some type of preparation. involved.
What is the inverse?
one day I don't even know if Rook had joined us yet. Do you recall a day on radio out in Maplewood where serious storms hit the Twin Cities? I mean, they were bad. You could,
Yes.
And that Maplewood was a neat location because it had a great western horizon view, and you could see them coming in.
Yeah.
And no Dave Dahl, and I threw a tirade.
remember this.
that?
I was
I went tirade. You know, where is he when
I
we
can
need
see
him?
it in the show notes how mad you were.
Yeah, it just went crazy that we didn't have him. So that's the inverse of that story. I mean, on the one hand, I'm told not to have my sport with the weather. On the other hand, where was the guy when I needed him? And from that day on, he never missed a beat.
No, because he was on TV 24/7.
That might have been the storm or one like it, where every Monday before sports talk, I would go over and kick tires at the Porsche dealership. And a big,
I know you're gonna
yeah,
guess.
a big storm was. You could see it on that horizon.
Here she comes.
And they wanted to get all those cars inside.
The
They
best
threw
ones.
me a set of keys to a new 911. Help us get these cars in because I got to know all the guys. I could have been in Ashland, Wisconsin within 2 hours. They never would have known where that car
Oh, they
was.
know where you live, all
Yeah,
those
I
guys.
It was so great when 0% came out too, because he would kick the tires and he'd say, "Let me, I gotta run the numbers." And the guy says, "There's no numbers. It's 0%.
This is the price.
Right, here
There's
it
nothing
is."
to run. Wouldn't it be fun, fellas, to drag him downstairs in front of the green screen and have old Joe do a weather forecast for the Twin Cities?
No, it would be like that reality TV show I want us to do, where we present the news, weather, and sports just as though we were talking amongst ourselves.
I thought it would be more like when you and Royce tried to do play-by-play.
Exactly.
Oh,
Be
Jesus.
Exactly.
Be one of those kind of deals.
I think she's gonna hit Northwest.
Mary Moriarty.
2 and 3.
Mary Moriarty is in the news, and we must acknowledge her presence in the news. She let this Dylan Adams fruitcake go. 33-year-old fiscal policy analyst for the Minnesota Department of Human Services did more than $20,000 in damages to Teslas that he keyed, not realizing that he was being filmed by the car itself, and was caught. And he was offered a diversion program, something her own office guidelines say should not apply to cases with more than $5,000 in property damages. Ooh. And keep in mind, I have never said one word. This case is fascinating, but I never once said one word that she let him go because of politics. I don't know her rationale for letting him go, but I did not say it's because she's a staunch Mysterian,
Right.
and anybody who works for Walls must be okay. I never said that, but now I have to wonder, because she did not hesitate to. This just happened after Dylan got arrested. She didn't hesitate to throw the book at a 19-year-old Robbinsdale woman with no criminal record. This was reported by the Star Tribune late last week. She is now facing felony charges for allegedly keying a coworker's car, causing $7,000 in damage. Okay, why? Well, now, Mary, you've allowed me to enter the world of politics. You're just a hypocrite. What else am I supposed to think?
No, that's hypocrisy. That's the definition.
The double standard was too much for concerned citizen John Shanahan of Brooklyn Park, who filed a complaint this week with the Office of Lawyers' Professional Responsibility. This inconsistent approach raises serious concerns regarding equal treatment. Yeah, where's the equity? Where's the equality and inclusion? Mm-hmm. This inconsistent approach raises serious concerns regarding equal treatment under the law, potential selective prosecution, and the ethical duty of prosecutors to ensure fairness and justice, said Shanahan in his complaint. Good for this Shanahan. Politics should never play a role in prosecution decisions, Shanahan said, but this case raises serious doubts. Doubts that I withheld from commenting on, but now I'm joining Shanahan, and I'm certainly wondering if politics played a role. He's asking the board to investigate whether Moriarty violated Rule 3.8 of the Minnesota Rules of Professional Conduct. The Minneapolis Police Department did not hold back in expressing frustration over Moriarty. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directed solely at her office. Chief O'Hara said this was last week. This isn't the first time her charging decisions have sparked public backlash. Social media posts, well, that we don't count on those a great deal, but they suggest Adams is a supporter of the DFL. And as Crime Watch reported, his on-camera vandalism spree began after Walls made headlines for saying that watching Tesla stock drop gave him a little boost during the day, even though the state holds investments in Tesla. Yeah, $1.6 million in the state retirement fund for the state workers. And this moron governor of yours presumably did not even know or did not think widely enough to remember that, you know what, I wonder if our state investment board has Tesla stock. Yeah, $1.6 million worth. And this buffoon is dancing around like a vaudeville actor on some stage in Eau Claire, telling everybody how happy he was that the Tesla stock was going down. In any event, why shouldn't we now think that Moriarty went after the woman for less damage than Adams caused because Moriarty believes in Walls, and by extension must believe that the state worker should not be held responsible because he was merely okay.
Breaking
Are we
the
going to
law.
go this far now? Was he incited by Walls, and Mary's going to look the other way on that? Well, anyway, she threw the book at a 19-year-old gal in Robbinsdale with no criminal record. I don't know if Adams had a criminal record. I don't think he did.
No,
But-
I don't think he did.
But he did 4 times the damage this woman did. Okay, explain
Then
it to me, somebody.
Then she can cite that she's cracking down on crime.
Well, she's not, though. She's
I'm
lying.
aware.
That would be a
I'm-
lie.
I'm very aware.
She's in the news for another reason that's incredible. She is instructing her office to prosecute cases based on race. Are you aware of that one?
I saw that.
Let's see. Minneapolis advances proposal for fat people. No, that isn't it. I have to get to that one, too, because that's amazing. Well, here it is. Prosecutors in Moriarty's office will be required to consider defendants' race when crafting plea deals. The office of Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty, which recently let a Democrat-connected alleged Tesla. He's not alleged. The car filmed him. Why do I have to say alleged?
You don't. He's guilty of doing that.
She let him off with a slap on the wrist. She issued the internal document, Negotiations Policy for Cases Involving Adult Defendants. It directs prosecutors to consider racial identity and age as they negotiate plea deals. This is Carol Levin reported that last week, and now some of the national press is picking it up. While racial identity and age are not appropriate grounds for departures, you can foghorn that. While racial identity and age are not appropriate grounds for departures from the Minnesota sentencing guidelines, proposed resolutions should consider the person charged as a whole person, including their racial identity and age, the internal document states. While these factors should not be controlling, they should be part of the overall analysis. Racial disparities harm our community, lead to distrust, and have a negative impact on community safety. Prosecutors should be identifying and addressing racial disparities at decision points as appropriate, it continues. The policy changes take effect today, April 28th, according to the outlet. Hennepin County encompasses the city of Minneapolis and is the most populous county in the Democrat-run state. Yes, it is. Okay, Mary, you heard some BS at your kitchen table when you were a kid, man. You are screwed up. But listen to what she says here.
I'm very confused about this. It sounds like there's two things being said, both sides of the mouth, one of those deals.
I'm only getting one side. It sounds to me like she's saying, think really hard before dealing with a person of color. Don't.
Well, it says don't take race into account, but think about race.
Yeah, and then she says for the trust but Mary, you're now just based on this lousy Tesla situation, you're not to be trusted. How is the public supposed to trust you in the case of this Tesla decision? One guy doesn't get prosecuted, another person does. Where are we supposed to be, Mary?
Mary.
I would love to hear what her defenders have to say, the voters, people that voted for her in Hennepin County, what they have to say. Is everybody really down with this? Are you happy with your choice?
You're asking that rhetorically?
Yeah, I'm asking the voters, the people that voted for Mary. How could you be happy with this kind of nonsense?
They can't possibly be.
Well, none of them will.
They could be. They could be.
It's possible that they could be, yes.
It'd be fun to get an email from at least one of them.
A lot of prematurely gray-haired 40-year-old women, and a lot of those guys with the gray hair that they let grow into a ponytail. There are a lot of those guys that they think.
Up here on the top, the man bun.
Yeah, and they think,
thing up
they
there.
think Walls is doing a hell of a job. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I don't know anything about that.
I got to tell you something, then I'm going to tell you something else.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me what you're about to tell me?
I was going to tell you about the Center of the American Experiment. There's lots of talk about DEI now. Mary just did not exhibit any DEI. There's no equity or inclusion in those charging decisions. None.
None.
Where's the equity?
None.
And all you people do is scream about equity and inclusion. Where is it? Well, go to the AmericanExperiment.org, or better yet, they want you to go to RadicalRepeal.com and learn about what this state has in mind for your kids in school. Really changing things around in terms of social studies, which will become an indoctrination program, alerting the kids as young as first graders to identify examples of ethnicity, equality, and liberation and construct meanings for those terms. I think that'd be tough for a first grader. I think you should know this stuff. I just don't think you need to know it when you're 6. Well, how old's a first grader? 6, right? Yeah. Third graders study solidarity movements, and they're going to be taught how schools oppress groups based on race. So they've already concluded their answer to a question that deserves debate. It's just ridiculous. And you can find out more from the American Experiment and RadicalRepeal.com.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Have you ever actually tried to be the master of your own outdoor domain? I'm thinking about my buddy up at My Talk who just bought his first house. Here's what you're going to need for your yard. You're going to need a spreader, a couple bags of pre-emergent pellets, some sort of fertilizer of some sort. This is going to entail a couple, 2-3 trips to the lawn and garden store. Lots of money. You're going to make a mistake, have to return a bag, get a bag of that other stuff. Then later this spring, you're going to need another couple bags of weed and feed. Then later in the summer, some liquid weed killer. Oh, and a brand new sprayer. And then be prepared to do everything wrong and end up with fertilizer burn. You know what that is? Well, you're going to find out this summer if you do it yourself. Or you could now, hear me out, this might be weird, you could just get on the pocket computer and sign up for a free lawn analysis and estimate from ProfessionalTurf.com and then end up having the best lawn around with no sweat and no heartache. ProTurf is going to design a fertilizer and weed control program that's environmentally safe and guaranteed for superior results. We're talking a beautiful, healthy lawn free of crabgrass, dandelions, and broadleaf weeds. Your yard will be the envy of your neighbors, and it's going to add amazing curb appeal to that estate of yours. Most of us here at GL have been or currently are ProTurf customers, and we love them. Your future happiness, it's just a click away. ProfessionalTurf.com.
When I first heard this, I didn't bother pursuing it because I didn't believe it. I saw a social media video of Minneapolis Councilwoman Robin Wansley
That's all I need.
tearfully talking about a new ordinance she wanted passed, and I did not believe it. But now it's in print, and it's been verified. City council members in Minneapolis are pushing an amendment that would add height, weight, housing status, and justice-impacted status to the list of categories that receive civil rights protections. Authored by council members Jason Chavez and Robin Wansley, they are the two most uninvolved council members with the real world. That's how I would state that. They're the two,
I would agree.
they're the two most uninvolved with the real world.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way of putting it.
And they've come up with this, and it's advanced out of the City Council's Public Health and Safety Committee with no opposition. There'll be a full vote May 1. Under the proposal, discrimination based on a person's justice-impacted status would be banned in educational institutions, professional organizations, employment, public accommodations, and property rights. A justice impacted status is the state of having a criminal record or history, including any arrest, charge, conviction, period of incarceration, or past or current probationary status. So the 19-year-old girl in Robbinsdale that Mary's going to prosecute
To the full
for
extent of the law. Yeah.
vandalizing Tesla, she'll end up with a justice impacted status, but the knucklehead in St. Paul won't. Okay. In short, employers, schools, organizations, and others could be forced to ignore a person's criminal record with dealing with that individual. Language banning discrimination based on height, weight, or housing status in educational institution, employment matters, and other institutions is also part of the proposal. At present, Minneapolis Civil Rights Ordinance prohibits discrimination based on race, creed, color, sex, gender identity, and many other categories. But Wansley and Chavez didn't feel there were enough categories. So they've added height and weight and your arrest record. The addition of height, weight, housing, and justice impacted status to the list of protected classes would mean that anyone in the city could allege discrimination based on one of those factors, and the city would have to investigate. Because that's exactly what it means. So you weigh 300 pounds, and you're 5'6".
Ooh.
And you don't get a job. Well, maybe
Hi, I'm Kenny.
Yeah, maybe you didn't get the job because you're a moron. But they'll go and say, I didn't get the job because I weigh 3 bills and I'm 5'6". I'm being discriminated against.
Well, they're already adding that to an already long list that you read off. But you're right.
Yeah.
If I go to apply to be the forklift driver at Joe's Flashlight Emporium
Right.
and don't get the job, I could file and saying, well, he doesn't like me because I'm a lard ass.
What does that pay, Joe's Flashlight?
Yeah.
It's $24.99 per hour after a 3-month trial period.
Jason Chavez said this ordinance is comprehensive. There are many different communities that are here testifying today, and that is beautiful. That is what I love about this ordinance. There are so many different communities together saying we can improve protections for our residents here in Minneapolis, so we can bring people together to celebrate this moment. The two most uninvolved council members with the real world, Chavez and Wansley, are very committed Mysterians. They appear to me to be clearly looking at the world through a lens of oppression. Everyone's been oppressed, and everyone's been victimized. And what they're doing is coming up with new categories to add to the civil rights protections. Because to them, not you, but most people are to be added to the list. Chavez amendments to the Civil Rights Ordinance have been in the works for some time because they don't really work on things that are important. Alpha News reported that Chavez was working to add immigration status to the list of protected categories, along with homeless and justice-impacted status.
Wow.
Everything under the sun.
Everything you can think of. Alpha News reached out to Chavez and Wansley for this story, but did not hear back. In order to be added to the city's law books, the proposal would need to be approved by a majority of the 13-member city council and signed by the mayor. Should the mayor choose to veto the proposal, the city council could override the veto with the support of at least 9 city council members. I suspect they'll have their way. They'll get this.
How do you think Rainville and Vitaw and even Jenkins will vote on this?
Well, that's only 3. They just need 9 to override a veto. 9 and 3 is 12. There's 13 council members.
Yeah. What do they say? What if you're colorblind? What if I'm missing my big toe with my right foot?
You're left-handed, and you're in the minority.
Same.
When I say uninvolved in the real world, I'm putting it as kindly as I possibly can.
You really are.
But what I mean by that is the common travails of the people paying taxes in Minneapolis are not considered by the likes of Chavez and Wansley. They are not there for that. They are not there to govern a city. They are not there to govern a city.
Why is that, Joe?
They are there to remake how we look at people and how they fit into a city. And that has nothing to do with capitalism. It has nothing to do with work. It has nothing to do with maintaining your life. It has everything to do with the way they want you to regard your fellow citizen, to the point of even criminal record people. You know, we're all the same, and we're all getting oppressed by a white patriarchal society that was unduly founded and unfairly founded by white people, and they're just working headlong to bring an end to that.
Is it the same sentimentality that all are welcome here? Same thing?
Yeah, but you wouldn't be.
No, of course. Yeah, the five of us are not welcome there.
It's a hell of a combination, Minneapolis and Hennepin County, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
If Minneapolis continues to go down this road, and if Minneapolis makes the mistake of electing Omar Fateh as mayor,
See you later.
there will not be a city that's recognizable.
Remind me again why, well, the five of us should give a damn. None of us live in Hennepin County or Minneapolis. Why should we care? Why is this important to the rocks and cows people?
Because it generates so much tax income, which will all be depleted. Once the likes of Chavez and Wansley have their way, the producers will not be producing. They will have moved on and gone elsewhere.
My answer would have been because these people control the state of Minnesota. They're voting. The voting in Hennepin County and Minneapolis and St. Paul, for that matter, controls the entire state.
I had a great quote about that a guy sent me. Geez, I hope I can find it. Dang it.
Where's the see you later from Royce?
So if you're living in a suburb of Moorhead or Duluth, this is why you should care, because these people are the ones that are controlling your life.
Is this it?
You folks down in Worthington, these people own you. Roseau,
See you later.
they're yours. They own you. They're controlling your life.
Yes, that's, here it is.
Here we go.
Here's a great quote.
We found it.
Mark Bostaff sent me this. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you!
I like that. That was very enthusiastic.
You're welcome, Joe.
As I was listening to the Good Friday GL podcast, you announced that this ain't it.
You want to make a great Friday?
Here it is. Here it is.
See you later.
Take two.
Oh, this one also says, Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you!
This is from Mark Lambert. My Republican uncle sent this to me a few years ago. A system of government where the least capable to lead are elected by the least capable of producing, and where the members of society least likely to sustain themselves or succeed are rewarded with goods and services paid for by the confiscated wealth of the diminishing numbers of producers.
Amen. Good one.
I don't know who wrote that.
I thought you said it was Mark. Oh, his dad. Mark's
Don't
dad.
use my name.
His dad didn't write it. His uncle sent
His
it to
uncle.
him.
His uncle Stan got it from
Laurel.
his in-law.
Let me read it again, because this is Minneapolis. Look at the money that's been poured to violence interrupters who don't have any earthly knowledge of what that means or how to keep track of it or to be responsible for it. They're just taking the money. More on that in a moment. A system of government where the least capable to lead, well, they're the least capable to lead in the real world. A system of government where the least capable to lead are elected by the least capable of producing, and where the members of society least likely to sustain themselves or succeed are rewarded with goods and services paid for by the confiscated wealth of the diminishing numbers of producers. Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
Can I get an amen?
See, that's why I keep asking that question, Joe. The line in there, voted for by the least likely to be producing. That's why I keep asking about the union worker, the guy that works out at American Airlines, the union, he's been in the job for 25 years. Why did he choose to vote for all these people? Because they are producing. They're making money, and they're paying their taxes. Why did they vote for this?
Maybe because they also feel that they're getting the short end of the stick.
Maybe.
Amen.
But the problem is, all these people, Chavez and Wansley, do is increase the number of short ends of sticks you're receiving.
Yeah.
They do not have success in mind. They do not have entrepreneurship in mind. They do not have meritocracy in mind. They don't have credibility in mind. All of those are affectations created by an unfair society. And we're going to wipe them off. And I don't care if you weigh 700 pounds. You should still get the job, even though you can't walk without tipping over. What do you want there, Chris? I got to...
I want to hear about Ricky's trip.
No, we have guys in Garage Logic. We have guys in Garage Logic. You got a garage door guy, you got the electric bike guy, you got the deep creep guy. You got guys. Well, you need a lawyer guy, and that would be Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys. If you're like me, you're not gonna know what to do if you're ever injured in an accident. I got all that stuff in the glove box,
Right?
The insurance card and the registration card and all that, but those insurance companies and adjusters can be confusing to deal with, so have somebody there on your side. That would be Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. The team is there to explain your rights and represent you and help you get through a tough time. Mike has been recognized as a super lawyer for 6 consecutive years. He's been named among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics. They hope you're never in an accident, but if you are, call Bradshaw and Bryant, 800-770-7008, or go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Your case evaluation is free, and they want to remind you, don't be part of the problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Don't run that video, Chris. I have all eyes on Suchi Boy right now as I tell this story. My father returned to our area last week after 6 months away, turned the key on his Polaris Ranger, only to find it jump to life instantly. Thank you, Seafoam. And then a couple of weeks ago, my son fired up 3 motorcycles after being stored since November. They jumped to life instantly. Again, thanks, Seafoam. Mr. Only Occasionally Happy here at GL says he's going to buy a water scooter, a Sea-Doo, from me. And I am promising Only Occasionally Happy that this thing is going to jump to life instantly and run like a champion, all thanks to Seafoam.
What year is it?
He needs photos.
That's just 3 more
2025.
Seafoam success stories. It's whatever year I tell you it is, pal. But we know this was, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. You know this because you're a GLer, and we've been singing the praises of Seafoam forever. But if you don't, if you own any kind of cylinder, and I'm talking single, twin, 4, 6, 8, 12, 2-stroke, 4-stroke, gas, diesel, you really need to give those cylinders a dose of Seafoam, and not just when you put it to bed for the season, but also during the course of the year. Use it in the gas tank or the crankcase. It cleans critical engine areas, helps loosen up crud in the crank before you change the oil. Our world is a world of bad gas and neglect, so treat those cylinders with love and care. Give them a dose of Seafoam motor treatment, a wonderful product in the world of bad gas. Seafoam.
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. And if I may poke the bar, as we say, a little bit here, right now at kstp.com, if you go to their website, Eyewitness News, you can find, all kinds of school closings.
Wow.
All kinds of after-school events canceled.
What the hell?
1245 Blue Earth schools are closing. Fairmount closing at 1:15. Martin County West schools closing at 1 o'clock. Mountain Lake Christian School 1:35.
That's enough, John.
No after-school events in Richfield. No after-school events at St. Paul schools in your hometown, Joe.
St. Paul.
Kids getting the day off on your dime, huh?
There's more. There's many more there. But
And that's your school closings, neighbor, on the top and the bottom of the hour here. And coming up is Country Hearth Bread.
I predict, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I predict it won't be long that the schools will be letting out early on exceptionally sunny days.
Yeah. So they can get vitamin D, or just
so they can get home without getting sunburned.
Got it.
Yeah.
We'll call them just-in-case days.
Right.
Okay, now let's move along to the news. Lawmakers have until 3 weeks from today to agree on how to spend $66 billion over the next 2 years. Minnesota House recently debated a farm bill, a small part of a long list of things for lawmakers to get to, including education and health. Legislative leaders have said they're optimistic they can reach an agreement without a special session, but tensions remain high. Democrats cite federal budget issues under President Trump, while Republicans say the state's problems started under Democratic leadership during the one-party control. You remember that. That's when the Democrats spent the $18 billion surplus that the state had built up. A pedestrian died at the hospital after being hit by a car on Highway 55 in Plymouth this morning. First responders were called to the crash on westbound Highway 55 near Revere Lane about 5:35 this morning. The pedestrian brought to the hospital where they died of their injuries. A portion of the highway was closed during the investigation, but reopened around 7:30 in the morning. Minneapolis has joined 20 other states in a lawsuit against the Trump administration to stop cuts to the IMLS and other agencies. The federal government has pulled museum grants from cultural institutions nationwide, including many of them in Minnesota. In April, the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences, the main federal funder of museums and libraries, told the Science Museum of Minnesota, the Walker Art Center, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, and the Ramsey County Historical Society that their grants would be cut. The IMLS pulled $625,000 in grants from the Science Museum, $250,000 from the Walker, almost $250,000 from the Mille Lacs Band, and $212,000 from the Ramsey County Historical Society. In total, the IMLS awarded $1.5 million in 2024 museum grants to Minnesota institutions. It is unclear how much funding has been lost in Minnesota, as the cuts could also impact grants issued in previous years that were designated for multi-year projects. Star Tribune reporting a man who was shot a little over a week ago while in his vehicle in downtown Minneapolis, crashed into another vehicle, has died. Zakira Noor, 23 years old of Oakdale, died at HCMC from multiple gunshot wounds suffered nearly a week earlier, according to the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. No arrests have been announced as of today in connection with the gunfire that happened about 6:30 in the evening, April 18th, near 5th Avenue and South 9th Street in Minneapolis. Noor traveled from that location and hit a family's vehicle before coming to a stop near 3rd Avenue and 9th Street. Officers found Noor slumped over the vehicle with at least one gunshot wound to the head, according to a police affidavit. Occupants of the family's vehicle that was hit, including a mother, father, and several children, were not injured. A witness video captured the victim's vehicle and the alleged shooter's car stopped at a red light. It appeared that they were arguing about something, according to witnesses.
Does Mary Moriarty have an obligation to tell the people she works for why she didn't charge one vandalizer and charge another?
Yes. She should have to justify that.
Under what pretense will she not acknowledge that, which has resulted in tremendous confusion? Under what pretense does she get to just not explain that?
Because that's the modern day of politics in 2025.
I would think that's a reasonable question the voters should know the answer to. Why did you nail this 19-year-old girl from Robbinsdale for keying one car? Maybe she did it with a gun. I'm not being facetious. Maybe the 19-year-old used a gun to wound the car, and that infuriated her. In other words, Mary, you owe people an answer. I'm sorry, John.
No, I was just going to say something I recall reading about the person. I guarantee you this would be her excuse, although I disagree with it. Mm-hmm. She would say the fella keyed the cars and he's not a danger to other people. That was originally, remember, she said he's not a threat to other people. And she'd say because this was directed at a person, because it was a fellow employee that the female keyed cars of. I bet, and I don't agree with her, but I'll bet that's the excuse she would use.
And
She'd be
you're right.
Public danger.
I'm looking for proof here. I don't believe he was driving one of Elon's cars either. I thought I read somewhere in the last week, over the weekend, it was a Chevy or something.
Who, this Dylan Adams?
No, this gal in Robbinsdale.
17-year-old?
Oh, she might not have keyed a Tesla?
Oh, it wasn't a Tesla. Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Okay. Okay, that's helpful to know.
No, yeah, it was. I got the impression from the stories I read, she was angry with the other person.
Could have been a love
whatever
quarrel or something. Or, you know.
A story we've been following for a while. It's not Minnesota, but it is next door, North Dakota, and it just keeps getting more sordid and sordid. The story of that North Dakota legislator who now serving a 10-year sentence for going to Prague to have sex.
Is he the 90-year-old guy?
Yeah, Ray Holmberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray.
Ray.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Ray's a Republican from Grand Forks. He used taxpayer money on at least one of the trips,
Sure he did.
according to North Dakota School Board Association. North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension reports show emails exchanged between Holmberg, who is 81, and former UND Center for Innovation CEO Bruce Jovig, dating to 2009. The 92 pages of investigative reports obtained by the forum through an open records request show that Holmberg emailed Jovig's Center of Innovation email account February 21st and asked Jovig what he thought of the senator's twink. Twink is slang for a young gay or bisexual man.
Wow.
Jovig replied, Twink is too young for me. Holmberg replied, no one is ever too young.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, there's a...
yeah, mischievous little
I've
fart,
got my
isn't
limit.
he?
I
Yeah,
have my limit.
yeah.
I just want
I
you
do
to know.
too.
Okay,
If you
good,
guys
good.
find this mischievous and that's it, then
No, I'm
we
being-
got to have a talk. I
No,
think.
it's more than mischievous.
As Chris laughs through the entire story,
I shut my mic off, John. Shut up and do the story.
we could hear you. Jovig founded the UND Center for Innovation in 1984. Now, Holmberg,
I'm confused.
yeah,
What does this have to do with it, the Center of Innovation? What?
the Center for Jovig is a big shot in Grand Forks,
Okay,
and Holmberg was the state senator from Grand Forks.
I see.
See, so and
They're
as you
talking to
conti-
each other about twinks?
Yes, and as you continue with the story, we also found out, and we talked about this before, he also talked with the North Dakota Attorney General, Wayne Stenjum, but those were deleted from the phones.
I
So we
see.
never found out what those were about.
Well, can't you just lock this guy up and get him out of the news?
He is. He is locked up for 10 years. So he'll be 91 when he gets out. Well, unless he gets out early, of course. But
Sure.
Are there any twinks in prison? Is there a
Yeah,
twinks
is this a don't
division?
throw me in the briar patch deal, or what's going on?
don't throw me in the briar patch.
He doesn't want any of those old hairy bears leaning up against him in the shower, does he?
No. He's a
I don't,
twinker.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Who's your favorite twink, Joe?
Enough twink talk.
I don't have a twink. I don't even know what that means.
Remember when the twins were called the Twinkies?
I do
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Boy, they better not be now.
Steve Lombardozzi always called them the Twinkies.
Do they still make Twinkies?
Yeah.
Like the
I think
Hostess
that's
company?
two different things, Matt.
I've always liked the Hostess cupcakes better than the Twinkies.
Yeah?
Same.
I'm never doing another Ray Holmes.
How about a
story.
ho-ho? Do you like a nice ho-ho, Joe?
Well, ho-ho is similar to a Hostess cupcake.
Ho-hos are better than the cupcake.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
they got
well,
that
you're
white
right.
chocolate.
I-
You break through
How
that.
about an oatmeal cream pie?
No.
No.
Going the
I
wrong
guess
way.
Don, I'm just waiting for you guys to finish.
I'm done. John.
Sure, glad I'm not doing an ad right now.
Why
Enough
don't
time
we
has
take
passed. That's what I was doing. Hey, how about those sponge cakes?
Twinkies.
Why don't we take a little break here? Look, you know what? You're the lucky person that gets to do the ad
really am.
here.
I bet those Hostess cupcakes are full of nuclear waste.
Yeah, that's okay. They're really good.
Rookie here for hostess.
No, rookie here for the Welter family, of course. Welter family does have a good sense of humor, and they want to make sure I get the number right and the website correct. So if you...
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'm not real sure yet if I can do that. It's about 50-50 right now, Rick, so just bear with me. Now, we do have some weather coming through right now, so you want to make sure your shelter is secure. And when your shelter is secure, you want to make sure it's heated or cooled properly. Now, there's going to be a little switchover from your heating unit to your air conditioning unit, but there's never any doubt that they both need to be working properly. And that's where Welter comes in. They've been around for over 116 years, 4 generations. Certified techs working on your old or maybe your 5-year-old heating unit's got to get put to bed for the season. They can do that for you if it hasn't been checked out, if it's making funny noises. Maybe go to welterheating.com and click on the blog. They may answer some questions for you for free, so you'll have a little bit of know-how. Request an appointment online at welterheating.com, or if you just want to call them, 612-825-6867. The human being answers the phone during business hours, and they've got 24/7 service available. It's a great family. It's a great, wonderful company servicing the Twin Cities metro area for, again, 116 years. Right now, whether you're cooling or heating your shelter, remember the fine folks from Ray and Welter. We're doing a program.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
You know, the beauty of North American Banking Company, pause a minute while I hit the logo.
Yeah, what do you got with Bilski?
Here's the thing with North American Banking Company. They want to get to know you, your family, and in some cases your business. And you can feel that anytime you walk in any one of their Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or, Joe, get that new car that Matthew's going to drive to an event
Yeah,
that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to finance a new home renovation project. But here's the thing. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other big national banks, but with the unparalleled service of a community bank. So check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Johnny Height.
Thank you, Chris. A 30-year-old man charged with multiple counts of murder on allegations he killed 11 people when he rammed a crowd of people at a Filipino heritage festival in Vancouver as hundreds attended vigils across the city for the victims. 30-year-old Kai G. Adam Lowe was charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder in a video appearance before a judge yesterday, hours after he was arrested at the scene. Investigators have ruled out terrorism as a motive, said more charges are possible. They said Lowe had a history of mental health issues. Satellite images analyzed by the Associated Press on Monday showed the devastation of an explosion that hit one of Iran's main ports as the death toll rose to 46 people with over 1,000 injured. The pictures from Planet Labs PBC came as local news reports from the site raised more questions about the cause of the blast Saturday at the Shahid Rajeh port near Bandar Abbas. The port reportedly took in a chemical component needed for solid fuel for ballistic missiles, something denied by authorities, although they still haven't explained the source of the power that caused the destruction. Hundreds of thousands of mourners gathered in and around Vatican City, bidding farewell to Pope Francis on Saturday, almost a week after the 88-year-old Pope passed away following a stroke and subsequent heart failure. Meanwhile, Catholic cardinals today set May 7th as the start date for the conclave to elect Pope Francis's successor.
Why do the conservatives not like this Pope? He has not changed one line of dogma, not one. Every rule that ever existed still exists.
Okay.
The one that just passed?
Francis.
Oh, because he was so liberal.
But
You know the answer.
Nothing's changed, though. Not one line of dogma has been changed.
Well, you know, that doesn't matter in politics.
I guess not.
Canadians head to the polls today for their first federal election in a decade without former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the ballot. Recent polls show Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney with a narrow lead over Conservative leader, your guy, Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, Trump's dealings with Canada have helped the Liberal Party and weighed poorly on Poilievre.
They had at the start of the year, Conservatives had a
They
25-point
were
lead in the
kicking
polls.
ass. Yeah.
And since the whole thing with tariffs happened, they've lost that
That's
entire
right.
lead. It looks like the Liberals are going to end up winning all
Looks like
340.
the Apple guy's going down.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
All 343 House of Commons seats are up for election. Whatever party or parties earns a majority of the seats will select
Which party?
Canada's
What are you talking
leader.
about?
Well, okay, but let's break that down just for a brief moment. Why would that have any bearing, in all
Well,
honesty?
because the Canadians would see him and somewhat ideologically aligned with Trump.
He is seen, as ideologically aligned.
And Trump
So
came
we're
along
going
and
to
blew
spite
it.
our own country because we don't like the guy running a different country.
Yep.
That seems really intelligent.
That's where we are in this first world angst.
Jesus, what a bunch of meatheads. Then you get with... Fine, go ahead.
Chris,
you get what
John's
you
doing the news.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, but you're aligning yourself with a guy who wants to take over your country. So, see, that might come into the vote.
You know what? We're going to screw ourselves more because bleep the orange man. Okay, cool.
No.
Go get
Let's
him.
settle down here. John's doing the news now.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Hey now.
Yes.
I hate it when I got to explain it. Meanwhile, speaking of tariffs, China's government said today that President Xi Jinping has not spoken with President Trump recently, killing any idea once again that the two leaders were secretly chatting to fix the trade war. Beijing made the statement during a regular press conference, slamming Trump's claim made last week in a Time magazine interview that Xi had picked up the phone and called him. According to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there have been no calls, no negotiations, and no backdoor deals to fix the tariff problem between the two biggest economies on the planet. Virginia Giuffre, one of the most outspoken accusers of Jeffrey Epstein, died by suicide on Friday, according to her family. You might remember, she is the one who said that Prince Andrew, she had had sex with him and was trafficked to Prince Andrew. Jeffrey filed a lawsuit against Andrew in 2021, alleging she was sexually abused by Andrew when she was 17. An out-of-court settlement was reached in 2022. Jeffrey was born in California and in grade school moved to Florida with her family. She experienced a troubled childhood growing up, telling the Miami Herald that at age 7 she was first molested by a family friend. She said the abuse turned her life around. Jeffrey met British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell in the early 2000s when working as a locker room attendant at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, where her father was a maintenance supervisor. Jeffrey said Maxwell connected her with Epstein and others.
Didn't she just survive a terrible car accident?
She did a month and a half ago.
And then she decides to commit suicide. Right.
You saying too coincidental?
I'm saying she knows too much.
So are you saying Hillary and Bill took her out?
Maybe.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
You said it. I didn't.
I didn't say it. You said you might have
I
said
am
it.
what you said. You said.
What did I
said
say?
what I
That
said.
you
You said you
said.
mean Hillary took her out?
I don't think you know what you're saying.
I don't think you do.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about, just for my own protection.
Why don't you give me the question to your answer?
She did work at Mar-a-Lago. All right, let's move on now.
No,
Wow.
you can't. No,
Mr.
John, you
Party
can't just do
shot.
that.
Wow.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation. has
All right, here we go.
Hey, now we're all back in the
All
game.
right.
I
Let's go.
disagree.
Get your pencils.
There,
officially-
They can't play a lick.
unveiled the class of 2025 inductees. Now,
Here
these
we
are the
go.
folks. These are the folks that are actually going in.
All right.
The ones voted
Rookie,
in.
you're the only opinion I matter.
Okay.
That matters. Thank you.
During the episode of American Idol last night, it was announced, which tells you all you need to
Good
know.
Idol
right?
show.
That's
where
why
they
it has
announced it.
nothing to do with
Good
this Hall of Fame.
contestants on
That's
the Idol.
correct. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, yeah. Anyway, here's who's going in, all right? In the performer category, Bad Company. Who played that?
Me.
You're fired.
Nice
I
work
should
with
have
you,
worn
Joe.
my Bad Company shirt. today.
I'm not
Damn.
voting for Bad Company.
Yeah, they're not.
Are they?
They're
I
not
can't get
real.
enough of your
That's
love.
just average
It's just
nonsense.
a creation
It's
of a record company.
It's just nothing.
No
There's
soul to
absolutely
that
nothing.
band.
Seriously, do they sing "I Can't Get Enough
Ja-
of Your
Matt-
Love"?
That's them.
Stokes,
Yes, Rook. That is them. Yes.
Well, help me get it.
Among many other wonderful rock and roll
Yeah.
songs.
All right, we beg
Okay.
to differ. John,
We
next.
certainly do, I'm sure.
the
That's
only one I
okay.
know.
Joe, this is the number. The first one John is wrong about.
Yep.
Chubby
ahead to number
Checker.
two.
Chubby Checker.
Yeah, the twist changed
Should
the
have been in a
world.
long time ago.
I think the twist deserves to be in there.
Well, he had a lot more hits than
I
that.
know that, John. I know.
Name one.
Blueberry Hill.
Let's twist again.
That's Fats Domino. He had a twisting theme for quite a while.
He did for
Yeah.
many years,
Yeah.
yes. Joe Cocker should have been in a long time ago.
Yes. Unique style. Up Where We Belong.
Oh God, the worst song
Forget
he
Up
ever
Where We
did.
Belong. God almighty.
Matthew.
You're fired,
I'm going no on Joe Cocker.
Joe, what?
No, you got.
God, he was at Woodstock.
Bro, you
Come
gotta leave
on.
your hat on.
He's a growly voice pipe fitter.
Oh,
No.
Jesus.
Well, that's the first one Joe's wrong about.
No, it's not. Cyndi Lauper.
No,
yeah.
not for me.
Paved the way for female
Oh,
acts to get in there.
BS.
Plus, she's got that bad psoriasis.
What about the
going right now.
McGuire sisters?
Don't
They
forget about
paved
the
way.
wrestling thing. Lou Albino.
Yes, Captain Lou Albano.
That's right.
Albano.
I'm going no. That's probably I'm wrong
People
again.
are
but
still
I'm
singing
going no.
"Girls Just Want to Have Fun."
That's good. You sing that.
Outcast.
I do time after time.
Good
John,
one,
are you
Rook.
putting Cindy in?
Cindy, I probably would put in yes.
Sure you would.
So far, I'm good with all four.
That doesn't surprise me.
Outcast.
Kenny,
Nope.
who's wrong? Kenny, who was wrong on that last one? On Sunday?
Everybody but me.
Okay, got it. Just checking.
Outcast. I loved Outcast, but the body of work.
Not
was
a body
kinda-
of work.
kinda
Sorry.
small.
No.
That's a no.
Do you mean
They're out.
too soon, or they didn't have enough
They
songs?
just didn't do enough.
Didn't do enough
It's like
stuff.
Kent Herbeck. I mean, you retired too early.
Here you go. Now, I got the same opinion about this one, which will probably get everybody yelling at me, even though I love this band, Soundgarden.
Nope, they don't go in.
Not enough. There's just not enough
No.
stuff.
What's
And
their big
Cornell was a
song?
great singer.
Black hole sun.
What do you say?
I love that whole Seattle thing, but
You got that like whole
not
Seattle
enough
thing
work.
going.
There's just not enough there.
Gar.
Let's see. And the other, the
Some kind of
seventh,
Eastern thing.
It's like that whole South Seattle thing going.
in the performer category, the last one, the White Stripes. Now we're going to argue
Hell
about this
no.
I don't even know
That-
who they are.
one.
Is that
Love
that pompous Jack? What's
What
his
a
name?
dull human being he is.
Jack
Oh,
White.
Out there with his sister banging on a Civil War snare drum.
Hey now.
You know,
sister, but that's okay.
since Joe hates him so much, I think I'm going to say
And he's
yes.
now in.
They're going in. I like them.
I'm not putting Jack White in.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
would
he deserves
in a
it.
minute.
No.
In a minute.
big
Last
deal.
30 years in the top 5.
Incredibly
Of everything.
talented.
Musical Influence Awards. These two go in: Salt and Peppa.
Yes.
And Lauren.
Yeah, I think they probably deserve it.
That's why this is not a Hall of Fame. Who doesn't get in?
You think they're just grabbing people off the
Name
street
me
saying,
who
hey,
didn't
push
get
it.
in.
Push
Name me
it
who
real
didn't get in.
push it.
This year, there's a bunch
Push
of
it
them.
real good.
Fish got the most votes in the popular vote. You know, they do a popular vote now.
Mm-hmm.
Fish got the most votes, but did not end up getting.
What about Inks?
Warren Zevon, also under Musical Influence Award, goes in. I don't understand what the difference is between musical influence and performer, because he should be in as a performer already, but he's not.
Johnny Warren Zevon was making the rounds on social media yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
He's
where
passed.
was London?
He's not here.
He's
I know,
passed,
but the
Chris.
Timberwolves have incorporated his.
Oh, I see.
See?
I see.
So
music
Sorry to
this mean,
incorporate
Johnny,
something timely with you four fossils, but that's cool too.
Does this mean if they're in a different category, they're in a? What does that mean? They're in a different part of the museum, or
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
The Musical Excellence Award, these three all should have been in some form or the other a long time ago. Tom Bell, who was the architect of the Philadelphia Sound.
Yep.
Clearly.
Nicky Hopkins, keyboard player. Played with
Yep.
everybody. That's right.
Yep.
Tom Bell was.
And the last one, John, make Joe tell us who she is.
Carol Kay.
Yeah, who is Carol Kay?
Carol
Joe?
Kay I put in. She
works
was
in
the
accounting.
bassist on all the Beach Boys stuff. And
All right.
just
Yeah,
a
she was the
fantastic.
wrecking
You passed
crew
the
bassist.
test.
Yeah.
and she works in accounting.
Now, a guy named Bell wrote "I Know a Place" for the Staple Singers. What Bill was that?
That would be Tom Bell, the guy we're talking about.
What I thought he was in Nashville or Memphis. The Bell I'm thinking about was Booker T and the MGs and.
Oh, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. I'm sorry. That wasn't
my
Tom
God, I got something right for
You
a
did.
change?
Yeah,
You
you
did.
FYI.
Attaboy.
Jeez, I feel pretty good.
You FYI'd me.
I did, yeah.
So wait, hold on before you go to your ad. John, are you done with the Hall of Fame?
Sure.
No, not yet, Chris.
Go ahead.
Let's put it to Joe the same way he puts it to us when we get something right. Well, you somehow pulled that one out of
Stumbled
your
upon it.
ass
Yeah.
and got it
Accidentally got
correct. God
something
knows
right.
how.
Wow.
Okay,
go ahead,
So
Chris.
as
Alvin,
I
right?
put together the synopsis for the show description today, as I mentioned the Hall of Fame. Okay, we're all in favor of Carol Kay.
I am. Yeah.
We dispute on Fish. Rookie loves Cyndi Lauper.
Well, Fish
And
didn't make it.
Joe has equated Kent Herbeck to Outcast.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Well,
You got
remember
all
on the
that.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, he was a white guy that played like a black guy.
That's right. Your garage door guy is Precision Door. Your Precision Garage Door MN. They serve western Wisconsin, the entire metro area. The GLers love them. They do great work. They'll even do new garage doors. They have models for every budget. They send out a designer. That consultation is free of charge. Think what a new door would do. Improve security, installation, the aesthetics. And if you get a new door now, they throw in the motor, which is a value of more than $760. These guys are great. They don't charge more for weekend visits. Get on top of your garage door. Not literally, but, get on there. Keep ahead of it.
Get up there.
Keep ahead of it with Precision Door MN. 612-263-6985. Or you can book online an appointment or that new garage door consultation at one word, precisiondoormn.com.
The world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I'm going to link tree planting to violence interruption.
I doubt it. There's no link between
You doubt
tree
me?
planting
You doubt me.
and violence interruption. There's no possible connection.
It's a link
You put
that-
yourself in dire danger.
I know
here.
I do.
Dire danger.
I know.
Joe. Jeez.
I got a note about tree planting from a guy named Chris Reed. It's called St. Paul Tree Planting. After taking years of waiting for the city to remove the sick ash tree from my front yard and then waiting another year to get a new tree, they finally came last week and a crew dug a new hole for a new tree. The next crew dropped a tree next to the hole. Then a third crew came to put the tree into the hole and remove the tags so the homeowner would not know what was planted. I went out and looked to see what type of tree they were going to plant before the third crew showed up. I read the tag on the tree and I was shocked. First, I had to Google the name on the tag to find out it was a type of maple tree. It said Acer-free Marmo. Then I was curious to see who supplied the tree because I did not recognize the name of the nursery. I was shocked to find that the nursery that grew the tree was Schichtel's Nursery, located in Springville, New York. So why is the city buying trees from New York when there are so many local nurseries that can supply the needs of the city? In my eyes, this has corruption written all over it. Food for thought. I know that the state prison workhouse in Ramsey County grows trees. I would like to know if there is more to this story. I tried to send a picture, but it would not load. Regards. Now you're thinking, how can he possibly do this?
I don't know. I don't know how you're going to link.
The Sunday Star Tribune had a very noteworthy story about the violence interrupters. Another Dina Winters story. It was very comprehensive. And we learn in there that since 2020, the city has ramped up alternatives to police, with overall spending on those programs increasing from $2.7 million in 2020 to $23 million last year.
Holy man.
The most visible program is violence interruption, where community members, some of them former gang members or ex-cons, use their street smarts to diffuse conflicts. Well, if I just might nitpick for a moment, we don't even know if they do that.
Right.
There's been no evidence
No documentation
supplied of that. The city auditor recently recommended the city withhold its final payment to a company that does youth gang violence intervention, saying evidence suggests the organization is billing Minneapolis and Hennepin County for the same work. City documents indicate the county first alerted the city. Jameel Jackson, executive director of the youth mentoring group Change Equals Opportunity, had a city contract that expired last month and a county contract. Jackson told a city employee he worked almost full-time for Hennepin County and the city last year, in addition to working as a part-time teacher and head basketball coach at Camden High School, according to internal city documents. I'm getting to the link, don't worry. Jackson also owns and operates 3 businesses, including one that hires people with criminal histories, raising concerns about whether these services are truly benefiting the community, according to an internal email. The city auditor reviewed his contract and found Jackson bills 80 to 90 hours a week to the city and county, according to a recent internal city memo. The auditor also found, while Jackson told city officials that youth are paid for the 20 hours of work weekly at various work sites, the city auditor expressed concern about the age of participants, business relationships with participants, validity of hours worked, and contractual compliance of their work. That's really a polite way to say this guy hasn't given us. It's a mess. It's a mess. Mm-hmm. Youth are paid by checks written by the CEO's president, Jackson, to himself, allowing for untraceable cash payments. Jackson said a couple of youths have no identification or bank account, so he hires them to do lawn care, shoveling, or mowing. He writes them a check that they sign over to him, and he gives them the cash. Here's what inspired the link.
Okay.
Jackson said in an interview he only works 1 hour a day as a teacher with Minneapolis Public Schools Office of Black Student Achievement. He works 1 hour a day. I'm reading this and I thought to myself,
Sweet gig.
If you are working 1 hour a day, but we don't know what he makes for that, why would that program even be needed? If you're there for 1 hour a day, and I'd really want to know a lot more about that. If you're there for 1 hour a day as a teacher, are you getting a full teacher's salary? I would imagine not. I would hope not.
I hope it's prorated.
Okay, but if you're there for an hour a day, why do we need an office for Black student achievement? Now, how am I going to relate that to the trees?
That's what I'm trying to guess.
You had 3 different crews come out to put the tree in. Here's the problem. The government has too much money.
Yep.
They have taken so much money that they've been able to expand governments to these unwieldy sizes. Mm-hmm. And in order to... the amount of money that is rolled in has allowed them to create new levels of government to the point where when it comes to violence interrupters, it's completely unknowable. They're paying money to people who have no ability or no knowledge of how a business works. They're just giving them the money. Does it really take 3 crews to plant a tree? And why did the tree have to get purchased from New York? Because the governments have so much money
How much money does they
that it
have?
results in this multiplication and redundancy of bureaucracies and hirees and offices that don't need to exist if they're only being populated 1 hour a day.
Right.
Why is there an Office of Black Achievement in the Minneapolis Public Schools? Why do the schools invariably run over budget every single time a budget comes up? Why is the state running over budget, $6 billion, every time a budget comes up? Because when they get all that money, what they do is expand the size of government, and thus more money is needed to sustain the expansion they just created. And on and on and on and on. Nobody should be paying the amount of taxes we're paying in this state, whether it's property taxes, income taxes, whatever. This state is corrupt from the top to the bottom. Government is corrupt from the top to the bottom in general, or generally speaking, because there's been no rein put on the size of government.
But who's
Can I get an amen for the link? For the link.
Amen.
Successful link, but my question is, why isn't there the tree guy with his green visor and his garter on his arm saying, why are we buying these from New York? Let's get them from Gerton's, or let's get them from Bailey's. Let's get them from Bachman's.
Because he's employed to go get a tree. Now, why he got it in New York, I don't know.
And a question for you, and maybe you don't know, those 3 different divisions in Minneapolis, are they union?
St. Paul, this was a St. Paul tree story.
Are they union?
I would imagine so.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Because the unions won't let. So the guy that drills the hole is not allowed to plant the tree. The guy that plants the tree isn't allowed to fill in the hole and remove the tag.
Rookie,
That's my guess.
I am
And
proud
somebody else entirely has to buy the tree.
Right. Isn't that how unions work?
Yeah.
I've been told. I don't know.
The government is too damn consuming. It's too big.
Rookie, I'm proud of you for working in 3 different plugs for the tree.
Yep, I'm available.
No, I'm not done.
But you're right. It should be just one department. Dig the hole, plant the tree, fill it in, water it, next job.
And the Minneapolis Public, well, first of all, violence interrupters, I'm sorry, it's nothing but a scam. We have no evidence that they interrupted any violence. 2, you've hired people who are not displaying any competency in justifying their billing. They're not doing it correctly. The Minneapolis Public Schools don't need an Office of Black Achievement or White Achievement or Hmong Achievement or any achievement. Go to school and achieve, especially if you can justify this office. You're getting away with justifying it by a guy who works. I wonder if that means that other people work there another hour a day or a week or a day.
Yeah,
or whatever.
who knows, right?
Well,
Who replaces him?
all nonsense. It's all complete BS. It's just utter BS. It means nothing. That's my link for the day. The
Before
great
we
piece on
leave-
the violence interrupters. Well, we're not leaving yet.
All right.
Yes.
Well, hand it to me before we leave. I have a couple announcements for us.
All right. Is Pat out here?
Yes, sir.
Pat, are you out there?
He wants to know where is the tree department. Yeah.
Only because they come to us all the way.
Wait. Did you not hear what I just said?
Of course he did.
Oh, for God's sakes, nobody can hear him.
No, we can't hear you, Pat. Yes, Kenny.
A couple of announcements. Garage Logic just learning today, this afternoon, while we were recording the podcast, that the show, will in fact be at Back to the 50s, June 20th, Friday, June 20th.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's great news. We don't know where we're going to be yet, but it sounds like The funds have been allocated, and we will definitely be making an appearance there. So that's a lot of fun.
Why don't you add the Cedar Lake Speedway?
And that's what I'm going to do next. In other cylinder-related news, I personally am very excited about this because Cedar Lake Speedway is my favorite track in the whole wide world. Saturday, July 12th, they're calling it a very British car show in order to entice Suchi Boy over there. The guys at Cedar Lake are having a British car show in the afternoon, and they are inviting GLers and all of us to stick around for the festivities on that night.
What time
and
are we
view the
there?
Races. I'm not sure what time we're going to show up.
I think
I'm thinking-
GLers are there from 5 to 6.
Yeah, or maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
But we'll have more details on that. What I wanted to get clear, though, June 20th, Friday, and then Saturday, July 12th. Those 2 dates, we're hoping to see you out and about with
Can I
us.
put the Jetta in the show, or is that no go?
No.
Is that a bird? That's German.
Yeah, that's okay.
Only because they come to us all the way from the traveling Lymans at Marloth Park in Mpumalanga Province, South Africa. It was on this day.
April 28th.
In 1849, James M. Goodhue published the first issue of the Minnesota Pioneer, the territory's first newspaper that no longer has a building.
No more building?
No. On this day,
April 28th.
in 1871, here we go, observers claimed to see a lake monster swimming in Lake Pepin.
Really?
Oh, Pepe.
By the way, what would have all the fishermen been doing on Pepin Saturday? What were they? What are you fishing for this time of year?
Muskie? A little trout?
Sturgeon?
I don't know. On this day,
You want to open up the phone lines?
no,
April
On-
28th.
in 1882, Frank McManus, charged with molesting a 4-year-old girl, was lynched by a mob at Central High School in Minneapolis.
That doesn't have a good vibe.
And finally, on this day,
Thanks, Rook.
Yeah.
April 28th.
in 1916, Arbor Day was renamed Loring Day, and over 1,000 elms were planted in honor of Charles M. Loring, visionary of the Minneapolis park system. But is it called Arbor Day now, or is it still called Loring Day? I don't know. That's a good.
You want me to get somebody on?
On this day,
April 28th.
on this day in Minnesota sports history, this day,
April 28th.
1992, the North Star fans protested a controversial goal and threw a whiskey bottle that hit Mike Modano.
Why'd we hit Mike?
Well, in 1992, was he playing for?
Well, of course he was.
Yeah, I don't know why we hit Modano.
Kind of whiskey.
Might have been accidental.
On this day,
April 28th.
in 2002, Wolves lost to the Mavericks in the first round of the playoffs, 3-0.
Good effort, boys.
On this day,
April 28th.
in 2011, Christian Ponder, drafted by the Vikings.
Jesus God.
On this day,
Lester.
April 28th, 2012, Blair Walsh, drafted by the Vikings.
Yep. Remember when the kindergartners gave him a little card
Sure.
and picked me up?
On this day,
Wow, he's powering through it in April 28th.
in 2018, Daniel Carlson, drafted by the Vikings. The hell is he?
Kicker.
Oh. And finally, on this day,
April 28th.
in 2023, Wild eliminated in the playoffs by Dallas.
Again?
And
Not this year.
now they go back to Vegas now, tied at 2.
Well, that was a bad. You know what that was on Saturday? A bad loss.
Well, in the playoffs, Chris, they're all bad losses.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button that you can find right there on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yeah, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can subscribe and see the show every single day starting right around noon. You can also see full segments, video shorts, behind the scenes footage in some cases, but it is all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You can also see us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also sign up for the Daily Logician. It's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. And if you haven't done so yet, Then upgrade your town council membership to an annual basis where you will be eligible to become the Garage Logic Town Council Member of the Week and be shout out on the show Friday by the mayor himself. It's all there for you. Garage Logic